Hey guys, what's up? It's Briti. And if I look familiar, it's because I just filmed a video. It was like a really long rant, but since I'm like a lazy ass bitch, I'm gonna film another one since I'm already set up and dressed. So today I'm gonna do sort of a remake of a video I made a while ago. It's not even up anymore, but it was stories from my childhood. But I added a couple and like I only took one from the old videos. So when I was in, I'd say 6th grade, I had this guy that I really liked, and me and my best friend really liked him. Like, we both really liked him. And in middle school it was a thing that if you got a guy's jacket, you were his bae. Like, I don't know why I just said bae. If you walked around with a guy's jacket on, they would be like, is that blah blah blah's jacket? And you'd be like, yeah. And they'd be like, oh girl, like, spicy. We used to fight for his jacket, literally like fight for his jacket by just asking for it pretty much, because we were hoes. Like, we wouldn't even be like, I'm cold, and be like, I'm cold, give me your jacket. One day I had a jacket, but I left it in my locker because I wanted his jacket, obviously. And I got to him first and I was like, hey, it's like really cold, I didn't bring a jacket. And he was like, oh, you can have mine. And it was 6th grade, so he was probably more like, oh, you can have mine. But anyway, so I was wearing his jacket and I went to some class, and the class I was in, he wasn't in, but my friend was in. And then I had to sneeze. And it wasn't just like a sneeze, like it wasn't just like achoo, like sneeze. It was a sneeze, like, you know when you have to sneeze, like, ooh, yeah, you can tell it's gonna be a big ass sneeze. That was the kind of sneeze it was. And it complied with how it felt. Like, it was a giant ass sneeze. And it was right into the sleeve of his jacket. And it wasn't just a big ass sneeze, it was a gross ass sneeze. Like, it was one of those gross sneezes where you sneeze and just like snot, like just snot comes out, like, and spit, and a lot of fucking gross ass fluids. Like, that was the sneeze it was. It was just gross stuff, and I was like, fuck, like, my friend was in the class and she saw, and I was just like, like, no. And I got a tissue and everything, and I gave him his jacket back, and like, she didn't tell him because she's a homie, but I just gave it back and it's fucking gross. Like, that's disgusting. And he never found out, but like, if I show him this video one day, he's gonna be like, what the fuck? Like, Briti, you ruined my life. Like, that's why I got pneumonia in 2nd grade. It was in 6th grade. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. This is the youngest age story I have. So I was like 5, and at school we had not police officers, sorry, I don't even know. We had fire department people. We had firefighters come into our class and like talk to us about fire safety, and like we gotta wear their helmets, and it was really cool. So as soon as I got home, I was like, I want to see those people again. Like, they were really nice, they were really cool. I bet you can see where this is going. So I call 911 and they pick up and they're like, hi 911, what's your emergency? And I'm like, bye. Like, I literally just hung up because I was scared. And I was expecting the firefighters to answer and be like, what's up? Like, you're that little girl from the classroom. But no, it was just like some lady. And so I hung up. And I didn't say anything. And it was just me and my sister home alone. No one fucking arrested us, but we were home alone. And not because my parents are terrible parents, but they both worked. Like, we were just poor. Like, we needed them to be working. And we were both home alone, and I was 5 and she was 10. But that's still like, even though we're 5 years apart, that was still like not the right age to be left home alone. So if like firefighters or police officers came to our house and we were just sitting there, like a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old sitting there alone, our parents would probably get in trouble. I don't say anything, and then they call us back. And that was when I learned that the police and the fire department can track calls. And like, that really freaked me out at the time. So they called us back, and I was a child. I was literally like this tall. You can't even see how tall I was because my hand's underneath the lens. And so my sister answers it, and she's like, hello, like, she's so little, she's just a young person. And they're like, hi, like, we received a call from you, is there an emergency, like, is there something happening? Because obviously if someone calls 911, doesn't say anything, and hangs up, they're gonna assume like there's an emergency, something's happening, the person can't talk because there's a fucking serial killer in their house, like, you know? So they're like, is there an emergency, like, do you need help? And she's like, bye, and she like hangs up. So, because she was also scared. She was 10 years old. She doesn't know what the fuck like the 911 people are calling her for. And so I am listening to this exchange and I'm like, who is that? And she's like, I don't know, like they just they said they were the police, like they said they were 911, and I was like, oh my god, like how? Magic! Like, I didn't understand phones, and we had landlines back then, so I don't even know. At this point, we're realizing that they're probably gonna come to our house, because she was smart enough at that age to know that with their phone number, they could find your address. So we call our parents and we're like, hey, so she calls my parents, she calls our parents, and she's like, so Briti called the police department, they're probably on their way, I'm 10. And so they're like, fuck. And they call our family friend who lives like right down the road from us. They're really good friends with her parents. So they asked her, she was like 17, 16 at the time, a good age to be babysitting. They asked her to like rush over to our house just in case the police department decides to show up to our house and say hi. She comes over to our house. Obviously the police department people, the fire department people come to our house and are like, what's up, like, what's good? And so she answers the door and she's like, I'm so sorry, like I was in the shower, I'm watching them, but I was in the shower and she got a hold of the phone, like she had police department day, I don't know what the fuck it was called. She had like firefighters come to her class and she just wanted to, she was just being a child, and I was like, yeah, like sorry, yeah. That was me. I was literally terrified when my parents got home. They get home at like 5 every day. So at 5, I hear the garage open. I run upstairs, and my sister has the kind of closet that has shelves in it, like it looks like a pantry, but it's a closet. And I get in her closet, I was a small ass bitch, so I like crawl up and curl up into a ball underneath, like inside 2 shelves, and like pull clothes over me, like I'm hiding from my parents. And so they get home and they're like, where is she? Like they're about to fight me. Someone literally opened her closet door and then closed it, because I was just like a sneaky ass bitch. Like I was really well hidden in those shelves. They're just like, whatever, like she's gone. They didn't even call anyone. They weren't like, my child's missing. Like they were just like, oh, she's not here. Like she must be hiding somewhere. And so I was in there for probably an hour and a half to 2 hours. Like I was cramped. Like I was getting out and I was like, I don't know how to move. Like how am I human? I get out and they were mad at me, but I just thought it was really funny that I hid in my sister's closet for like 2 hours. Because I called the fire department. So another time in my life where I was just a stupid kid was when I was like 9. We used to have to bring checks for lunch money at my school, and because I'd get hot lunch, like I would get traded lunch, I wouldn't bring my own. I'd run out of lunch money, or I was like really close to running out of lunch money, so my mom gave me a $50 check to go give to them, and I didn't understand checks. Like why would a 9-year-old understand checks, first of all? And so the date, you know, where you just put the date at the top, I thought that was an expiration date. Like I thought checks expired. Like I thought after a certain day, they took that money out of your account, but if you didn't use it by that day, they were like, sucks, like bye $50, you're gone. So I forgot to take it to school that day because I was like forgetful as fuck. And I got home and I found it and I was like, oh, like shit, like I didn't say shit, I was 9, but I was like, oh, poop hole, like this is expired. I was like the kind of kid who thought they knew things and like thought they could do things on their own and not have to talk to their parents about it. I was also scared about telling her because I thought she would be mad. I thought she'd be like, you're irresponsible, like you should have given this to her on time, like now I've lost $50 and I have to give you another. So I take the check and I go downstairs, sneak into my dad's office, get his checkbook, go upstairs, and I literally forged a check. Like, that's illegal. That's illegal. But I took the check that she had signed and I forged it. Like, as a 9-year-old, I did really well. Like, thinking back, it was a really well forged check. But it was still obvious that it wasn't her signature because I was like shaky and like, I didn't sign. I just was like, eh, you know? I gave that check to them. And a couple days later, my dad calls me into his office and has a picture of the check on his computer. And he goes, does this look familiar? And I was like, no. And he was like, it looks like mommy signed it. Did she sign it? And I was like, yeah. And obviously it was, obviously I had forged it. Mostly, obviously, because I'm a stupid ass bitch. I took a checkbook that was from a bank we aren't at anymore. Like, it was our Canadian check, like our Canadian bank. Like, it was a checkbook from when we were in Canada. And so the bank wasn't, like, we weren't even at that bank anymore, so they sent us a thing. I still don't know how it works, but they sent us a thing that pretty much said, like, you wrote this check isn't, like, valid anymore, but your account isn't valid anymore, but we're taking, like, you owe us $50 now. So I owed them $50 anyway, even though I wouldn't have if I just said, hey, like, is this an expiration date? And she was like, no, you're a dumb 5-year-old. I was 9, but whatever. So they were really mad, like really mad, and they had right to be. Like, why would you do that? Why? This is why I'm never having kids. So they literally like put me in the basement for like a half hour. Back then it felt like 6 hours. Like I went for a while after that. I was like, to my friends, I was like, oh my god, I spent the whole night in the basement. I was starving. They had me down there for like half an hour. Yeah, so that pretty much wraps up this video. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs up anyway, because you're still watching, I hope. Bye. Hopefully if you're like 5 and you're watching this video, which I really hope isn't a thing, you can learn from my mistakes.